Hey guys, welcome to Keeping It
Short. This is a series we've done a little bit. We're trying to be a bit more organized with it, where we will go out and watch a film, or it doesn't have to be new. Sometimes it can just be a film of our likings.
We probably should have done like, and I'm Cooper and I'm Christian. Also at the front end.
Future Christian, we are so sorry.
No, I'm being picky, so it's okay.
Well, let's try it back. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hey guys,
it's Cooper,
it's Christian,
and this is Keeping It
Short.
So yeah, we're just happy to have you guys back for another episode. You know, a little short episode, like the title says.
Just trying to keep it under an hour.
Yeah, where we're basically just go in and talk about a movie or a TV show, something we just reviewed, but we want to do a quick review on. And this week we're talking about the new release of Final Destination's Bloodlines. It's the 6th installment of the Final Destination franchise. Maybe a horror franchise. Some of you know, some of you don't know, because this installment is 14 years later after the last one was made. So honestly, it's kind of touching a new bloodline, a new generation of people. You know, me and Christian specifically, we were kind of young when the new movies came out. They were very 2000s. So for this was really cool to just kind of see.
I feel like I have seen the first one.
You probably know about it. It's a very rich.
I mean, it's a 14. It's an old movie.
So the first one came out.
It's not 14 years old, like in real life, right? It's like
no. So the first one came out in 2000s, and every 3 years they dropped a new one. So in 03, 06, 09, and 2011 was the last one.
It is really similar to the Saw movie then, except they didn't do 3 years; they did 1 year. Every year.
Saw, Reboot Halloween, all these kind of like movies like that. Even like the rebooted stuff of the rebooted franchises. In the mid to late 2000s, this was like the big horror times, and Final Destination, for its simplistic concept, was actually one of the bangers. But yeah, we're just talking about this one, Christian. Like you kind of just said, this is
my first one that I like.
One you've seen
can
the franchise.
Be like, oh, I watched that.
Cool, yeah. I've seen them all. I grew up on them a little bit later, obviously. Like I didn't watch it when I was like a kid, but in middle school, I got into it a bit. I rewatched them. I actually just did a binge last night. I watched 1 through 3 last night, 4, 5, 6 today, just to kind of get in vibe with it and for my Letterboxd and stuff. You know, if also, by the way, our reviews for this movie will be on the podcast, but also on the Letterboxd to see more of a bit of our talking discussions.
If you don't want to listen to us talk, but you like hearing our opinion, go to the Letterboxd, guys. Or if you want to see something like before we talk about it.
But yeah, do you want to just go into, like we said, just initial scores and stuff?
So my initial score for the first of the movies that I've seen, I gave it a 6.5. Because it was, I may just not be a big fan of the series or of the way that the movies conduct themselves. But this movie, it was very predictable. And all the twists were very predictable. And it really just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of spirit behind the movie, I feel like. I kind of just, it felt like they were really trying to make it something more, and it just fell short. I'm not sure if that's like real though, you know, because I've never seen the other one, so I have no idea to speak to the character.
I'll just say give the other ones the benefit of a doubt, because those ones are kind of cooler, and and I guess I'll play into my review. I'm giving this one a 5.5 out of 10. So a little bit above the midline. Some of my thoughts are similar with you, where I feel like it tries to go for a lot and it tries to stack on these layers and be more complex.
I think I actually gave it a 6.
Where I think I think you said a 6, because I think for everything with the stories and stuff, I think this is by far, in comparison, because the old movies are a bit more tacky and corny. Character-wise, these are probably the better written out characters, but also they're so stacked and layered that we kind of lose the fun of just the simplicity of the concept of death is after you, trying to correct its wrongs because you weren't supposed to survive in the first place.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm someone that sometimes, I'm a huge hard critic sometimes, and I love a complex slow burn of a movie, but sometimes I can just enjoy things for what they are at face value, if you know what it is. And for this one, I think this type of franchise works better when they know that it's what we want. Our meat and potatoes is the leading up to the deaths, these traps, these setups, these subversions, and this one has a couple of subversions in there, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But I think
they tried to do a lot of subversions,
and I think that's the problem. They try to do a lot, and they switch their focus from the substance of what the corrections and the rules are and stuff, and they tried to be as different as possible.
Yeah,
was trying to keep in some faith and stuff of the old movies. But also try to be its own thing. And I think for some people that might be its highs and that might be its lows. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's an element there though of like they really wanted this movie to be like a critic like movie almost. It feels like it just doesn't feel like they did the stuff in even good faith. It kind of feels like they changed. Like I said, I have no idea what the other things are, but from what I'm hearing, it feels like it was a lot more complex. Like, and I also think...
Oh, you mean the new one is complex?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, okay.
And I also feel like a part of me just wishes that they didn't try to flesh out these characters. Because they... Spoilers. But also I feel like if you're talking
this
about
is a spoiler talk. So if 5, 4, get away from the video. 3, 2, if you don't want to see it, if you scare, spoiler time. Sorry.
Yeah, so if they wanted these characters to like matter really bad, I kind of wish that they hadn't just killed them all off. As like, I feel like that's like in bad faith of the series.
I'll do this now because I honestly like seeing a non-franchise viewer because so you get to have your opinions, I get to have mine, and I think it's awesome because the thing that I'll probably argue with you a lot is that in these movies, especially after the first one and second one and third one, it's gonna end with everyone basically dying. But I think I like this though, because so please keep elaborating because I really think this is cool.
Well, I want to elaborate on that because it's not that I hate that they all died. It's I hate that they give them so much screen time to try to develop these characters that don't matter.
You wish they were almost like because in the other ones they don't develop them as much. Like you kind of see a little bit of their journey. Like my favorite is 2, because they have a connection. But the connection is what kind of makes these characters a little stronger, even though they're face value, just these cutouts of what these like characteristics are. And in these ones, we follow this family. The premise of this movie is basically like a disaster happens and a woman has a premonition, like a vision that prevents everything. So she stops the disaster from happening and stopping death from happening. Death doesn't like that, so Death then is tracking the survivors and their families to erase their bloodlines because they should have never existed because they were supposed to die. And basically, like in other prior films, the basically like I said, it's a disaster happens and some people escape and Death is just coming to correct the score. But in this one, they do play the avenue of family and the importance of the order a bit more. Like in the other ones, there is a pattern, but the pattern is pretty basic, as in this is what happens in the premonition. In this movie, because nobody dies in the actual disaster, the premonition, she stops everything, which I think is for me, that's a bit of a dig. I love when only a handful don't make it out because that makes it feel clear. These are our characters that Death is after, and they try to subvert it with this one, and they're trying to be different. So for some people, that's going to be a good thing. I am someone that kind of likes my formula, and for the fact that this is
the last one, right?
This is who knows? This might be successful. They might make another one. The reviews are going mixed avenues.
Let's say that hypothetically they made this as the last one. Why would you be straying so far from the formula for the last one?
I think because they wanted to do each movie creates a new concept. They still follow the rules. This one still kind of follows the rules, but they make a new concept for each of them. Like I don't want to go into it a bit because I want Christian to elaborate a bit more, but for some of them, they have a new rule or a new motif in each thing. And this one is the Bloodlines, it kind of retcons the other films because Death in those other films, it would pick on different new people each time besides 1 and 2. Those are the only connected ones. It was a different person in a different place. And there's vague connections. But in this one, it seems like everyone who's supposed to die in these Bloodlines is because of this one incident. And that almost kind of makes me a little pushy because that they don't, that it focuses so heavy on that because, and we talked about it a little bit on the confusion of the family and the Bloodlines of how it's tackling them. But before we get into like I guess bad stuff, maybe we should do some positives. You first.
Oh, okay. None. JK. I like the actors for the brother or the older brother.
Like the cousins family.
Yeah, I like their whole family, all the actors for them.
I think
I don't mind the dad for the main family, and I didn't really like our leading lady as much. I didn't like her mom.
The girl who plays Stefani.
Yeah.
Well, I think for some reason I think it's a unique concept where
I like the stepmom.
She is someone because she learns all this stuff, and I thought it was a cool subversion where the premonitions weren't the grandmother, because in most of these movies, they don't waste any time. It's like 10 minutes in, we're getting straight into like you might only kind of know these characters, but then boom, the accident happens, and then after the accident, they prevent it, and that's what builds the characters' relationships. And this one, they spend a long time on this premonition, and I also kind of feel like that's a bit of a dig because you spend all this time on the grandma and this premonition and everything because she stops it, and the importance of that comes later. But you spend like 10, 15 minutes on this accident, and then it cuts to when she dies. And normally when the person dies, the premonition pulls out and it's them in the moment. Like cuts back to them right before the disaster strikes. The fact that it cuts to her granddaughter waking up from a dream, and that's the motive for her in this film, is a unique turn. But she doesn't believe it at first, and then once it happens, she tries to be somebody, and then she tells her that because you're my granddaughter, you're able to see the accidents happen. Yeah, I don't like that she's like a seer, that she's like able to like actually call it out, because what I love about the other Final Destination movies is that
we see it happen, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Even we see it as the audience, and the creators, the filmmakers know that we're watching it, and we're trying to warn them, like, they can't hear us, get out of the way. But then they subvert the audience's expectations. Like someone will think that they're gonna get electrocuted because they're stepping on water, and then they'll die by like a clothesline or something getting around their neck because they slip on the water instead of getting electrocuted. It's subversion.
They did that with the older brother. Like if he were to have died, they did it with him. Like, the piercings and stuff.
I do love that. The guy who plays Eric, or his character's name is Eric.
Genuinely, I think he's my favorite character in the movie.
They subverted me because I genuinely thought he was going to die. In the trailers, they set it up. Then I thought for some reason, I thought there was like a deleted scene or something where he gets hit by the bus. And then so for a good chunk, they fake us out and they go, well, actually, it's like, why didn't he die? And I'm like, maybe it's like because him and the girl were twins or something, because the girl ends up dying. But it was like, if they played it for a laugh, but I think it worked. It was like, oh, you're actually adopted, or you're actually like half son, not of the dude's bloodline. You're like, what?
Yeah, and I feel like I said, I think if you took that scene out, nothing would change in the movie, which is kind of crazy because like it only affects us, and it's a twist that's only for us, and it's not a twist that's a part of the story.
Well, yeah, because he ends up dying anyway.
Yeah, and also she doesn't say like, oh my gosh, my son.
We also never meet this dude.
Yeah,
and so it's just a name drop, and maybe I need to.
Yeah, which it might have been the guy who owns the tattoo shop. I don't remember if that was the dude's name.
No, I don't know. I also never maybe it's an inside joke for something that's like a movie thing.
Maybe it's even like one of the producers or something.
Yeah, but I straight up was like, I think it was a funny joke, don't get me wrong, I was chuckling, but I think that I agree with you where it's like, because
it's a twist for twist's sake.
Because I thought it was a unique idea because it subverted us, and if he was like a safeguard, that would have been nice. But then they introduced so many like shifts in this movie, like that they say, because when they meet Tony Todd, and Tony Todd in these movies, the guy who's the JB in this one, he comes around in almost all the movies. He's out of a couple because I think for some reason they couldn't get him or whatever. He's in like 1, 2, and 5. He's this coroner who, so many people theorize that he is like either death himself or the Grim Reaper or a harbinger or something, because he just knows these people and he's acting all creepy. And the fact that in this one he is like made like just a child who like was able to avoid the incidents, and he was like a study of the grandma and like tracking down the bloodlines and stuff. It connects it, but I don't like that because
I would have liked the idea. I'm so cheesy too that like I'm thinking about it right now. It's very cheesy, this idea, but if he was a harbinger of death, having him be like,
he's a bit more sinister in the other ones.
like
not
my
sinister.
like he can just let the mask slip and he can be fully like you're not getting out of this. But
Well,
which he does kind of do.
He does
but it's
that
not
in the
same.
other movies. That's the thing. Like he maybe because he's like an old soul, and they wanted to not have him be as scary. They want him to be a bit more
like a fond character.
Well, because Tony Todd, the actor, he's been renowned for playing. If you've seen the movie Candyman in the '90s, he's big in that. He's Candyman, and he's big in these movies.
He still looks good.
Well, he's
to be
dead.
honest. Oh well,
Rest in
he
peace.
did look good.
I think he I forget what he died from, but he did die a couple years ago, and he was able to film this movie though. And like a couple of months later after filming, he died.
He didn't die from cancer, did he?
I don't know. I can't remember.
That would be crazy.
But his character, I think they wanted him to have a bit more of a harmonious send off to him, and being more trying to help them out, and try to give them some leeway.
He's also the man who played Candyman. You know what I mean? Like. You don't think he wants...
Because in these other roles, he helps them out, but he basically tells them straight up in these other movies, he acts creepy, and he straight up just goes, you really can't escape it. I will give you the rules and logic of the movie so you can try. Because in each movie, he introduced the rules, he tells them the rules and stuff in a very unique
Which he didn't
way.
do that this movie,
Well,
really.
he
gave them extra rules, but the rules came from the grandmother.
He did, but the thing is that they play one as a joke, because in one of the rules is... Because there are two rules, and I do like the rules where new life, in terms of like if you die and are brought back to life, which is introduced in 2, then
your debt is paid.
Your debt is paid and you stop the cycle. But if you kill somebody, you take their life and the time they had, and that's in 5, and that's really interesting because that creates a villainous dynamic in 5. The only reason they cheap it in 2 is because they like there's a whole thing about like by saving somebody you start a new cycle, and so that's why they have a bad ending in 2. But in this one, like they play 5 as a joke because they're not going to kill babies. And in 2 though, it's like, but in 2 I do kind of like it though. In 2 or in this one, the first one where it's like if you try to die, we will
death will fuck with you.
Or no. If you die, we'll resuscitate you, because that's what they do with the brothers.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, I liked the chemistry. None of the actors were bad. Even like I didn't like Stephanie.
No.
I didn't like Stephanie as a character, but she was like fine. I just she's a character that we aren't really supposed to like because she's been secluded from her family and now she cares. But then there's also a abandoned mom who we have to worry about her as well. There's the confrontation between her brother and her dad. There's a confrontation between the cousins that are distant from her, and ultimately the only people I'm actually invested in are the little brother Charlie and the 2 brothers, like Eric and his brother.
Yeah, it makes me not care about the mom and daughter conflict.
Because they're sidelined, because for a good amount of time they're only worried about saving him, and then when they die they kind of like rush to the 3rd act.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was like, I don't think it's a horrible movie. No, it's just not one I'm gonna rewatch probably.
I think it for me it kind of cuts it right there in the middle. It's kind of baseline. And I just think that like there's so many things in this movie that are unique. Like I like that they do try to, and there's a lot of fun to have with the brothers.
There also seem to be a lot of callbacks to other movies.
If you're there is, but they still kind of keep them kind of subtle, like they mention names and stuff. Which is interesting because like for me, who's seen the movies, I picked up on it. I thought that was cool. For you, I bet it probably seemed like a lot of explanation and wording and stuff.
Well, it just felt like if we're gonna have this much expo, then why didn't we cut the beginning a little bit? You know what I mean? Or like
the opening was
if we didn't have the scene of them just being like, "Hey, the brother died. JK, he didn't." That scene literally doesn't matter.
Can we talk about that actually at the beginning? Because ultimately I think we said we had you more than me, but I understand your concern about the way of the bloodline, because
okay, so
because let's
I don't
explain,
know
like,
if I'm
kinda
just being dumb.
No, go
but
for
the way the bloodline works is death has gone through, so like 100 people are in this building,
right,
and they all get saved.
It's
and
killing them in the order they would have died,
and he kills them in the way that they would have died, which is totally fine. That makes sense.
That's the order, yeah.
But then when it gets to the bloodlines, it's killing them by branch and not by age, which I feel like
should have been by age.
It should have been,
because they do it by age, but it's by branch.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like in my mind it should have been the grandmother
Iris.
By the way, I don't think they even needed to have her in this movie. I'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
But Iris, then the dad, or then the uncle, then the mom, then it should have been our main cast. And I think if they had done it that way,
You think you would have had fun?
I think we would have had a tighter group because I think there would have been more.
I think the mom
struggle
dynamic
between the sister and
because the mom
or the cousin and
dynamic
the sister.
doesn't kind of. I think it's a unique thing and it's supposed to bond them. But the thing about the mom, I personally don't think the mom stuff works. Like she comes in here, she's meant to help out and stuff. There's like a scene of her talking and apologizing, being like, you thought I would run away? It's because our family's messed up and stuff and I wanted to prevent this. And then by doing that, like, and then they cut back to the brothers. Like I honestly, like you said, if it was going to be a storyline about if it was killing off the family and it killed it off by age instead, so it was like you said, it was their uncle because he's the oldest son, and then the daughter, and then it was going after age. It's these young people that are inexperienced, don't know what they're doing. They have to read it together. We've seen.
And I'm even cool with the female cousin still dying,
the sister dying as a shock. Yeah.
To then give us that dies the same way, but then that gives us a reason to be like, oh, you're adopted.
Well, there could have been suspicion and doubt because it could have been like uncle died, like grandma died. Some people are doubtful. Dad dies. Some people are doubtful. Then the mom dies, and they're like, well, wait. Does that mean it's over because it's direct children? And then because the girl dies, it's like, oh my gosh, it's deeper.
If they want to really do, because I mean, that joke, by the way, the like you're adopted joke, that works anywhere you put it in the movie. That joke won't diminish, I don't think. Because finding out that he was alive and then the reason he's alive, that personally, I don't need that for the setup.
I'll say this. I liked, one thing I liked and didn't like, but I think I liked it more, is that after the death of the daughter, so after the girl cousin, the grandma dies, they think that's a freak accident. The dad dies, people are still in disbelief. By the moment that the girl dies, because it's so freaky,
they're all like, oh my gosh,
every
it's
single
real.
person besides Stephanie's dad, because he just doesn't want them to go with their mom, believes them. And I like that.
I like that it felt real,
because by that also it was like kind of midpoint in the movie anyway.
Well, and also that's the point when I would have been like if I was like the stepmom, I would be like, oh, there's something going on.
And everyone eventually gets to that point in the movies, but I like it.
By the way, there's this really funny cut. Within like 10 minutes, we go from one funeral to the next funeral. And I audibly laughed whenever they cut to the funeral. They just didn't need that. They didn't need that at all.
There's a great scene in 3 where these people die in tanning beds, and the shot is like a double shot, and then it cuts immediately to just 2 coffins. It's hilarious.
That's really funny.
That movie's actually funny as heck.
Yeah, I think the
You're fine. Keep going.
I mean, I'm gonna noise isolation and everything. You're a little behind the scenes talk, but I think that ultimately these movies, they did too much in this one, and I would have liked that like really boiled down. This is our concept. Like I said, I think it would. I don't know how old the demographic is for the people who get chosen a lot of the time. I don't know if they're younger or if they're like middle age.
It's
like in their 20s to 30s, or if they're like their 30s to 40s.
The first one is a group of high school kids because they're going on a trip. The second one is a variety of ages. It's like, and I think that's kind of unique because it's like a mom and her son, like some people in their mid 20s. A dude, like the third one's high school again. The fourth one's college. The fifth one is
then, it would have been
college.
fine. It would have been in line with the movies if they just went all young cast, and then have the brothers die the same way that they did. I think also. Honestly,
I didn't like that Eric died.
Oh well, I don't think he should have died.
They set him up because they want some gore.
But also, if they wanted to kill him, I think it should have been a double. Like it should have been
not the EpiPen thing. It should have been like they both did.
Basically, just to describe this to you guys, an MRI machine gets turned up to like max. Which, by the way, I don't think they go that high. In
also, I don't know if it's magnetic like that. I don't know.
Well, it is. It is.
Okay.
It will pull piercings and stuff out. That's all real.
Okay.
The fact but it was like, I mean, I don't think it can get that strong though. I don't know. I don't know about that.
These movies you have to have a suspense of disbelief.
But either way, there's a wheelchair in front of it, and the brother who is not related technically to the bloodline.
They're playing because they're trying to kill the related brother
with his
peanut allergy.
Peanut allergy.
So they could restart his life. They want to like give him like EpiPen and resuscitate him and everything once he's gone.
And he's like, okay, get in this wheelchair, and then they turn on the MRI machine, and the brother's like got the peanut allergy thing going, and he's like freaking out. So he gets out of it, and then the brother's like, "Get back in the chair." But then his piercings get pulled out, and they go to it, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And personally, I didn't think it was funny when they did the like dick piercing and the like nipple piercings.
I think the nipple piercings were kind of funny. They should have stopped at the nipple piercing.
I was like, they're gonna. I like literally was like, they're gonna do a dick piercing.
The nipple piercing was enough. I think nipples are funnier.
I didn't really need that, but also not even because it's like gross. It's just kind of. I was like, that's just kind of annoying.
It's a little. It's an extra sense of crass that doesn't need to be. And
it wasn't funny.
These movies, sometimes it's subjective. Yeah. Of course.
But either way, yeah. I mean, I'm no comedian.
We laugh at pee and poop jokes, but come on, make it classy.
Yeah, I gotta make it classy. I laugh at pee and poop. I'm not shit and piss.
Maybe if he pee and pooped in a pee nipple, or
yeah, I don't know. But either way, it's off track. Basically, this wheelchair that
the pee lines.
This wheelchair that he had brought for his brother to be in, so he could rush him to the ER room. It crushes him into the MRI machine.
Yeah,
I would have just because then the brother is like he hobbles over, gets his EpiPen, stabs himself, then he stands up, and then a spring from the vending machine that they tried to make you think that was going to fall on him, which I didn't think it was going to. The spring comes out, and then they're like, oh, JK, the spring didn't kill him yet, and then it kills him, and then it sits there and spins while they're doing it. I would have really liked it if it had gone, like if they had tried to push the thing out, and then his brother, while he was like suffering from the allergy, they get dragged into the MRI machine, and it crushes both of them by pushing it in. And like the brother can't move, so he's going downwards, and then the older brother is like going like this, and it's like going through him. I think it would have been more gruesome. And also to have both of those characters die the exact same time makes it a lot less bad because they were so together the whole film.
I would have been okay with that because I didn't like the introduced rule of like if you try to intervene with death, they'll kill you anyway, because we've never seen it with an innocent person, because a lot of time it's been people who have already been marked for death.
It made it feel way malicious, and which is fine.
Because death is normally correcting the order. It doesn't. I mean, it might do it in a bad, like it might be a violent way, but it's correcting the order. Because like they don't kill like the mother-in-law or the dad, but I do think that if he was gonna go, like you said, making a double kill would have been like, well, there was no other way. It's through consequences.
I'm also really big on something following us, like the motif. There's a motif throughout the movies of death, and death like usually has a motif
and
of
a
wind.
Penny.
Yeah, I don't know. But before we get into that,
okay,
giving death rules, I do not think they should change ever. I think that should be the one thing throughout your movies that like is always the same. And I get that they're trying to do the bloodline thing or whatever, but because technically speaking, that hadn't happened yet. Up until that point or whatever, unless there have been families of people.
No, there's never been family stuff.
So the thing is
it's them creating a new thing for a new story.
It felt like it was, and like think about every like Candyman, they have to summon him. The Ring, you have to watch. It's always the same rules.
Well, in this one, they still did it, but they did so much stacked on it that they basically were kind of like tweaking the rules. They still were pretty honorable, but they did tweak a lot.
Yeah, and I'm just more on like, just keep the rules the exact same. I like when things are like, it's because it makes death feel way less malicious when it's like, no matter who was in this situation, they would have died.
I think ultimately,
but it being like, oh, you are trying to save your brother, die. Ultimately, like, that's crazy.
Ultimately, I think they just checked it down to it was like, it's been so long, they didn't want to do the same thing because they get it. It's the 6th movie, and them being chased by death is the same thing. But honestly, it's kind of worked. Like the 5th movie, to me, I have more personal fondness of 2, but 5 I think was the better made movie, and so they were ending it on a high note, and they did the same concept 5 times, but they introduced something new. The Bloodlines is something new, but let's not go off of too much of what works.
Also, let's
you want to get into it?
Just to kind of, I feel like this is a really good point to wrap on.
Yeah,
we've given you pretty much the gripes that we've had,
and
with
we want to let you
still watch the reason it's getting what it
want
is.
To, yeah.
But the opening scene, this is something that affects the entire movie.
You go for it.
So, one, there's this weird thing going on with this kid who, like, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool that they like kept this as a thing, and it's fine or whatever, but I didn't like the ending because of it.
Like the ending?
The ending.
Okay.
But like the kid like steals a penny from the fountain, and then he's throwing those pennies, and then the guy's like, "Stop doing that." And he's like, "Okay," and he's like, "Shut up." And he throws it again, and that's what kind of sets a lot of this into motion. That's fine. For
He's
the
also
first
a selfish.
one,
He's
I
also a
guess.
selfish kid.
Yeah,
And I'm glad he gets got.
Yeah, he gets got, and that's good. But like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I just wish that it wasn't so much at the beginning, because it felt like we were gonna get a movie where it was like Iris. Like I was kind of excited for that, and then we swapped to this other story, and Iris doesn't even matter in the movie technically.
She's only her. She matters to be the fact that
she's a plot band-aid.
Well, she's a plot band-aid because she tells them the lore, and she is the reason why
it hasn't killed them yet.
Because she's been someone. Yeah, she hasn't. So she's taken a while, and also because it's also a deeper meaning that because of her trying to keep everyone safe, she wasn't living life, and she wasn't a good person. Like it's. And we saw her beforehand. She was a good person. She was someone, but she just was fearful and fear. But the question is, even if you know you're gonna die, like, and they do it in like I think 3. It's like knowing you're going to die. Are you just gonna not live your life, or are you gonna live your life up until the point where you die?
I mean, she wasn't doing. She was trying to not let it kill her, so that it didn't kill her family.
She was trying to be,
which is different.
She was being selflessly selfish because she was trying to protect her family
and herself.
And they don't know. Yeah. Like they don't know.
Well, I wouldn't even say that.
Well, also like they didn't know that. Sometimes you have to be the villain to be the good guy.
The reason I think she's got a lot. Like I said, it is. I think it's a completely selfless act, not because of because she didn't want to die.
She wanted to protect her family.
I mean, she lets it kill her
to show them
straight up.
She chooses to die, yeah.
Yeah, and which if she didn't do that, I would be like, yeah, it was very selfish of her to do it, which I do like that she did that. That was a cool moment. It was pretty brutal, but also
they had to get the movie going at that point.
I
it was
really
like
liked that she was
in.
like seeing is believing, and like she knew it was. She could have saved herself.
She chose. She made that decision as well. Like as soon as she stepped out the door, even before the choosing the death thing, she could have chosen. Staying in the cabin and being safe and letting it just try its best.
Also, the electrical work in the I don't know why that was never hinted to. The end scene where she's in the compound and the lights going out and the electrical stuff's going on.
Well, it's because the you're right. It didn't do it as much, but it's probably because the roof got damaged when the thing fell and it knocked everything over.
When what fell?
The like northwest sign thing, and I think it was like maybe attached to like the cables or whatever. There was
I guess
very vaguely,
because I guess it could have. Well, no, because it wasn't under tension. I don't think that. I think it just blew and then it broke and then it fell and then it shot her.
I bet what it probably was.
Wasn't clear.
I think it wasn't clear, and I bet what it was like, well, death's already in the presence of this area now that it's killed one person.
Yeah,
it's not as safe as you think it is.
Yeah, but also I think for a movie that's so meticulous about showing you the process at which something happens, to have it just be like, oh, and there's electrical damage.
It doesn't do that as much, and it's so meticulous in the other movies, and the other movies are so much more simpler in the writing, and that's what I would rather trade.
Dude,
I'll trade that.
Seeing them. Because she had to prove, I guess, that she could see it. But, like, her walking down and being like, well, I guess this, and this would happen. But they don't show us those clips. They do that when she's describing it. I don't know. I kind of don't like that she was just like, well, I don't know. Maybe this could happen. And then it happened.
They put so much,
weird.
Overall, they just put so much effort into the concept of the bloodline.
Yeah.
And for me personally, as in my opinion, it's a miss. I think
take out the grandma, take out the mom, take out the kill the mom and kill the grandma, obviously.
Well, keep the concept of it being a bloodline, but make it on the new generation.
Because
the movie's about the new generation.
The grandma dying, she was gonna die from cancer. Death could have just given them all cancer.
That's a bit of a stretch.
He could have. It did it. It did it twice.
Could have, but he wanted it to be quick. She was a preventing act.
I think then give him super cancer. I just don't think that I think the grandma, it would have been cool if she's not going to be a character, have her have sent the book, and that's what we find. She doesn't need to be a character. We don't need to even go back out to her thing. We can go to the house and have the house get
have her be a midpoint thing or something. Like I get that find a way to.
I like the idea if she's even like,
well,
you can't come in here.
In some of these,
here's my book.
In some of these movies, because they kind of defy this in this
Mm.
one. There's a lot of times where if you intervene with a death, it will skip your turn and go after somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have like skipped the grandma and gone to her son, and then
and that pulls the grandma out of the house.
Yeah, like they've done these other movies. Listen, I think they tried something elaborate. Some people will like it, some people will don't.
And for the people who I think like it, you're dumb, JK. I'm just kidding. But I was gonna say for the people who like it, you are probably
you like a little bit more texture in your films.
Yeah,
and I would ask. What did you think of the old ones? You know, maybe this is what you wanted. I feel like some people, and me myself, I did want a bit more complexity of some of the older movies. I think that's why I keep them at arm's length.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun, but I know what they are. For this one, it tried to be more, and I appreciate it, but I still think it missed connecting with me a bit
I
more.
hate that it missed the mark because there's a lot of really good ideas.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot you could remove and make the film better.
Maybe make another one, but maybe balance it out.
Just do a sloshy, just like it's. I mean, Terrifier is getting is from 2 to 3. That movie, I'm sorry, anybody who is like, I love Terrifier. Those movies are the exact same way. They are just a gore fest. There does not need to be another one because there's no story. I hate to say it. But Final Destination, they can do.
You can make because that's what they've been doing. And the reason why people keep going back to them isn't because they know, like, it's because there's a little change. Just change it a little bit. We don't need nothing crazy. But I mean, it's still not the worst one. I put, for me in my Letterboxd thing, I put like at the bottom, I think from bottom to top, it goes like 4, 3, Bloodlines, 1, 2, 5, or no, 1, 5, 2. 2 is the top.
Do you want to do a kind of on our way, our final thoughts on this? Do you want to do best kill, worst kill for you?
Yeah, sure. You go first.
Worst kill. I mean, minus JB, because he dies from cancer, technically speaking, in the movie.
Yeah.
Minus him, honestly, it's the train at the end.
Oh, the logs or something?
So dumb. The penny
they were
doing that is so
also
dumb.
They're doing the logs, and and they really want the...
It's a callback.
It's a callback to 2, because everyone was scared of that in 2.
But they already did their callback by having them almost get hit by...
They did it twice.
Me personally, take that out of the movie. Doesn't even need to happen.
I like the callbacks.
Have them die in like a really dumb way. But it doesn't need to be that. The penny is crazy.
My weakest death, I would probably say, is the
uncle.
No, I'd probably say it's the... I'd probably say it's the last one too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this with the kid, with the girl, like the girl cousin, but like that sets it all in motion. I think it's unique.
Also, it's pretty brutal. For me, I thought it was pretty, the way that they'd kept her like her nose and eyes above the line.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
It was pretty messed up. I liked it better than the train.
Best kill.
You go first.
Funny enough, I think it's the practical stunt with that lady gets set on fire. Like in the premonition,
yeah,
because she's wandering for a bit, and you see like the gas or whatever, or the oil spilling,
yeah,
and she's walking.
And she comes around that corner.
I think that's a really cool fire stunt, and then it just.
I think
honorable mentions to that kid who was a brat for a long time, and the piano got him.
Yeah,
and then the coin falls back into the puddle where he was stealing from.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like a good, like, I get it. It's a premonition. I knew he'd probably be fine, but like it's fun to see kid gets like a bratty kid get his comeuppance.
Trying to think of which one I like
the best.
Most. I kind of liked how brutal the mom's was
with the crowd.
It just was so quick.
Well, because she blew up and then she got Wait, the mom or the grandma?
The mom.
Oh,
when
yeah,
that thing falls on her,
she's like,
she just crumples.
I'll try to stay as long as bow.
Yeah, it's either got to be
That's
her or the dad or the uncle.
Yeah, the uncle's was like the elaborate one.
That was pretty brutal.
You see in the trailer, like that was pretty cool though. That's a good setup.
Those two, or if it's from the premonition, I really liked the elevator guy. You know what? I'm gonna give it to him. The guy who was halfway in the door and the elevator closed on him. That one was pretty gross.
They just love their crushing in these movies, and honestly, they do it well.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. That can be your thing, but like ultimately, though, I mean, I feel like it deserves the like 6 or 5.5.
I'm gonna do 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 is fine. It is my first one, so I'll probably adjust it for the other ones.
We probably won't cover that on the thing, but
I'd probably say it's a 5.5. But like, also it was my first viewing, and I'm still fresh to
maybe
it.
let us know what you guys think. If someone who did it, who really liked it, give us your thoughts on it, man. Tell or girl, tell me, what
man or woman.
Just them, whatever. Just let us know what you think. I love differing opinions. Maybe this is what you wanted, a bit more complexities. Maybe you also agreed with us. Maybe you thought it was even worse than what we thought. Which
let us know.
I'd be like, don't be harsh, bro.
Also, go follow our letterboxes so we can see what you crazy guys are.
Follow our
rating
letterboxes.
stuff.
They're honestly really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was Christian,
and I've been Cooper, and this was Keeping It Short.
Hey.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys.
Keep you posted.
Mwah.